Don't tell us. Hey you guys, what's up? What's up? What's up? Karissa here, and I'm so excited because as you can see, I'm being joined by an awesome, amazing, incredible human being. Her name is Traci Pittman. I'm going to let Traci introduce herself here in a minute, you guys, but I asked Traci to come on and do a joint live with me because I have been able to witness her start to step into her power. She's been coaching with me for a couple of months now, and it's been so incredible to be able to watch her, like I said, step into her power. So if you guys are catching this live, feel free to say, hey, Traci, hey, Karissa, let us know where you're watching this from. But I invited her on because her story, her journey it's inspiring, right? It's so inspiring, and it's so resonating with so many people right now. They know they're meant for more. They're ready to step into their power. They don't quite know what that looks like or what that's going to feel like or be like, but Traci has done it, and she's done it in like record time, quantum leaping time. So I just want to introduce her. Let's just get going here, guys, because I cannot wait for Traci to kind of share her experience and what it's been like for her as a brand new coach. So she is a current client in the Alpha Queen Collective. She is a mindset and athletic coach for youth and professional athletes. So before I kind of dive into the very first question that I have for you, Traci, just tell us like where you're from and, like what inspired you to join the AQC? What were you hoping to learn or gain from becoming a member in the collective?
All right. Hey, everyone. I'm from Denver, Colorado. And I actually had a friend refer me to the AQC. And when I first got on a call, I was a guest on a call. And I remember I just was touched so much. I cried and cried on the call, and so many people were so many women, so many queens were just so gentle and kind and made space for me. And so I think that was the biggest thing. I didn't feel judged after that, being a guest, and so I felt like it was the right place.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I can't remember what you get. We host so many like once a month masterminds and boot camp classes. Do you remember what workshop that was, Traci? Or do you remember what like the theme of it was? I can't even remember.
I don't, to be honest with you. And I mean, it was back in January, February, and so I'll tell the whole story. But I got, I was like, okay, I'll get on. There's probably gonna be a bunch of women that are catty, not nice or something, and everybody was just so amazing. And I was not in a good spot at the time in life. And so, do you want me to go into that now?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, share a little bit about where you were, a couple of months, because you've literally grown
Mhm.
so fast in such rapid time. So take us back to when you weren't like this beautiful, radiating queen that you are today. What were you struggling with? What were some of your biggest obstacles?
Yeah, so I had really low self-esteem. I felt like I was just kind of floating through life and not living life and thriving. And I got a divorce in 2014, and prior to that, obviously things got pretty bad. But imagine it was 2024 when I first started as a client with Karissa, and for 10 years I lived in that um, that sadness, and that I had things I needed to forgive myself for, and I just couldn't get out of that black hole. And so that's really, I was insecure. I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't know why I was so insecure. I worked in corporate America for years and successful, but that's really what I wanted, to find my authentic self. And I guess I'll just say that I knew that God had more for me, and that I had a, a purpose. I just didn't know what it was. And I knew that I wasn't intended to be sad and depressed and lonely and all those things for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be on totally honest with you. Like when I remember like looking at your profiles and things, I was like, there's no way this lady struggles with confidence issues or self-esteem issues. Isn't that crazy? Like how some women, I mean, on paper you looked so on point, right? But you mentioned it, right? Like on the inside, it was definitely different. I'm curious, how was that mentality, that mindset of, the confidence, how was it actually affecting your life? How was it like affecting your career, if it was at all?
Yeah. So my career, one thing, I would get triggered and react to things, and I know we did in some of the group coaching, you had talked about, the triggers and being able to identify those and what we're really feeling. So that was one thing. And so I would get like, I would be on a conference call and get choked up.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
for probably no reason, or my voice would start shaking. I would get defensive. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
know, and so that was how it would. I also wouldn't like step out of my comfort zone. I would I've grown in the company that I'm with. Somehow, I guess by God's grace, because I would never like step out of my comfort zone and, and speak up and say I can do that or whatever. I would always wait for somebody to ask me. So that's how it showed up in my career.
That's that's amazing. Okay, so do you remember you guys, every single time we bring on a new client, right? We're always like, okay, what does your life look like 12 months from now, 6 months from now? Like, what is your goal? What is your vision? Do you remember what your original goals were when you joined?
Yes, I do. And first of all, when you kind of like interviewed me to see like if I was the right fit for, AQC, also, I remember I also couldn't get through the conversation without crying, and when I talked to Tia the first time, I cried and cried. But I remember that my goals were to to gain self confidence, to be able to step into my authentic self and like find that love for myself. And then also to find my purpose, to realize what my purpose was, because I had been praying about that. I had been working on that by myself, for years. I was trying to figure out what my purpose was. So those were my goals.
Do you remember the conversation we had? I think it was in Voxer, right? Where you're like, how do you just step into your purpose? How do you find your purpose? I think is what it was. And do you remember what I told you?
That I don't exactly remember. Maybe,
No, 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 no.
maybe the fire, the passion that I'll
Yeah.
know, that will light me up when it hits me. Is that?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So like so many people struggle with really identifying their purpose, right? And when you ask that question, I always sit back and before I box her and I'm like, okay, there was once a time that I didn't know my purpose. There was once a time that I wasn't walking and living my mission and like doing God's work, right? I was like, oh, I was like you, right? Like living on autopilot, doing the same thing day in and day out. And I honestly, I was happy at my corporate job. So I was like, it was so good. So how did I even step into my purpose? But I remember Voxering you back saying, the thing is with purpose is I feel that it's not something we can go out and just find, right? Like I feel like it finds you, and you'll know when you start getting those exciting energy, like everything just starts burning up and you just can't wait to talk about it. And you're just like, every time I want to meet someone, I want to tell them like, oh, hey, this is what I do. And this is who I help. And like, whatever it is, but like, that's how your purpose finds you, not the opposite way around. Do you remember that conversation now?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, yeah. So check. Would you say, like, let me just quickly would you say we helped you build your confidence, your self-esteem, and helped you step into your purpose?
Yes.
And you guys, she did it literally. She did it in, like I'm telling you, record time. I work with clients who will sometimes sit on the back sidelines and just show up to the group calls, show up and just like put in bare at minimal effort. And what I love about Traci is that when she's an all-in type of gal, and that's a characteristic of an alpha queen, right? You don't need to know the hows, you don't need to have everything all figured out, but you do have to be willing to step up and give it your all. And there were even group calls where Traci Traci couldn't be on, but she was watching replays. She would, and I knew she would watch the replays because she would Voxer me and she would message me like, hey, I listened to this. And I was like, oh my God, I have to go back and listen to it myself. Right. So like she was a woman who committed to herself. She said yes to herself. She then stepped into being 100% in, even if that looked like having to watch the replays while you were working out or doing something like that. So, I also want to just kind of take the conversation into how proud I am of you giving your very first keynote speech at a pretty major conference. That's a huge milestone for so many coaches and entrepreneurs. Tell us a little bit about your experience with that and what you went through leading up to that moment, because that's a pretty big nail biter. Like, oh, hey, I'm not just speaking to like 5 people. I'm going to speak to 100+ people I've never spoken before. Like, what was that whole experience for you?
Yeah, thanks. So it was just amazing the way it all unfolded. So it was at the national quality meeting for the corporate company that I work for. My VP had sent me an email in July, I guess, notifying me that I was going to be speaking. And so, obviously I was really nervous. At first I was like, I can't do this. And then I was like, I got to talk to Karissa. And, but the amazing thing, the way it all unfolded was just that I went to the abundance rebirth retreat, and that, yeah, is just, it was not just, it was the business and money part of it was so amazing and just so impactful. But I know myself and other queens gained so much from the personal development piece of that too. And the fact that fell, so I got that notification in July, then mid-August was the retreat. And coming out of that retreat, I felt like I was reborn, and in every way. And I was like, I can do this. And so it felt amazing. And I felt like just, you talk about like abundance and following like our instincts and that kind of thing, and just how purpose falls in line and that kind of thing. And so I just felt like the way it all really unfolded was just so beautiful and so perfect. And so going into it, I was obviously very, very nervous. And so just really appreciate your support and your guidance, and that day I don't remember if it was I guess it was the day before, probably, because I presented at 8 in the morning or 8:15, but that you told me to visualize and to do some meditation. And so I did. And when I visualized, I saw myself like getting on stage and first like kind of sucking the audience in, if you will, by being kind of funny and adding some humor. And that's like not me at all. Or at least I didn't think that was my authentic self. And so it just, I don't know. I was like in this alter ego and was just like, oh my gosh. And now I feel like it's just like, it's like I was like, oh my gosh, now I understand why Karissa and Leslie Liu and others love this, because it's like a high almost, but you're like, engaging and sharing important information that's impactful. Yeah, so I was nervous, but really appreciate you helping ground me and really coaching me through that.
Oh my gosh. It's easy to coach someone who's coachable for sure. And you are definitely coachable. I love it. It made me so happy to see that, that picture of you. I was like, yes, girl. Yes. So I was rooting for you all the way from the UK in the future. For sure. So last thing, right? Because we've talked about purpose and we've talked about passion. You found what you're passionate about. You're starting to step into your purpose. you're pretty much like the most brand new baby coach ever, right? You finally figured out what you want to do when you grow up that's going to fill your heart and soul. Tell us a little bit about like, what is your vision for the next 6 to 12 months? I mean, is it just learning how to be a great coach? Is it putting your program together? Is it like, what are you most excited about when it comes to being an athletic mindset coach?
Yeah, so I'm definitely a baby, and I'm very excited for my 90-minute one-on-one roadmap call with you this Friday, to really outline, next steps. Yeah, very excited to learn how to be an amazing coach, to impact youth and professional athletes, to help them get out of their own way. I've lived this myself. I have two kids that have one of them has really lived it also. And so, I just want to help athletes. I'm passionate about sports and really help them have that mental edge on their competition and grow my business and help athletes gain confidence the way, even though it wasn't in an athletic mindset, the way you and AQC have helped me gain my confidence. So.
For sure. Well, I mean, mindset's the core of everything. You guys, if you're listening and watching this, you can learn all the strategies in the world when it comes to growing your company, when it comes to reaching the next level as an athlete. It doesn't matter what it is that your goals that you're trying to achieve. If you have a broken ass, poor poverty mindset, it's never going to get you anywhere, right? And Traci knew that like she had to get out of her own way. She did the internal work. She's up and Traci, as a coach who's been in your shoes as like baby coach, just starting, as a coach who's made multi six figures, on her way to 7, like the mindset never stops growing, right? We never ever stop developing a stronger mindset. It's like we just keep up leveling and diving deeper and deeper. And that's such a beautiful part of growth, is like, how much more can I dive into today? Because I know that internal work is going to help me get to that new level. So I have no doubt that over the next 12 months, because you've upgraded your agreement, you're coming in as a new coach coming in. We're going to build your offers. We're going to build your programs. We're going to build your sales funnels, like everything that it needs to do. Marketing plan, like everything. And we're so excited. Me and the team are really, really excited to have you on board, to kind of take you from I've now got the dream and the vision to that next level of getting paid consistently for your heart and your passion. Because so many athletes, whether they're young, old, in college, or professional, they need a mindset coach to help them get unstuck. And I even remember, I have it here, I pulled it up. We had a call at one point. Last thing, we had a call one day and we talked about, her ideas and her visions. And that, I think, is the call that started planting the seed for it all. Because you guys, when we're just unconsciously speaking about what lights us up, I, as the visionary, can hear other people's visions before they can see it. And it's never my role to say, hey, do this, do this, do this, because that would just feel scary 6 months ago. But now Traci's like totally ready for it. So I could see that vision that she couldn't quite see yet. And it's been so much fun to watch her step into that, and really start to own it. So last minute, Traci, and I'll let you go. What advice would you give to a woman who is feeling stuck and that's struggling with confidence and self-esteem issues? What one piece of advice would you give her?
Make the decision to show up for yourself and invest in yourself.
Yeah, she's
Join
worth
the AQC.
Oh, join it. Either way, I don't care, right? I'm like, join a coaching program, do some sort of mentorship. It doesn't matter, ladies. Like, I'm not, asking Traci to say that, but like, she's just sharing her own experience within the collective. And that's one of the reasons why people love us. Is she mentioned the sisterhood, right? The loving support and the kindness, the team helping her, the no bullshit strategies and the mindset work to get through it. And it's going to be so much fun. So Traci, great advice, right? Just invest in yourself, whether it's a gym membership or a coach or a mentor or a book, it doesn't matter. Invest in your skills, because ladies, you are worth it. So Traci, thank you so much. I can't wait to, in a couple months, when you're like, I got my first paid client, like, it's going to be awesome. We'll do another live again. Sound good?
Okay. Thank you.
All right, girl. I'll see you on a group call soon.
Okay.
Bye.